friends, with us today. He is one of the baddest, craziest, no prep racers on the planet. He is the mustache behind Nitrous Express. He is the LUG Thug, coming to us from Wichita Falls, Texas, by way of Encino, California. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you driver of the hate train, Brent Albury.
What's up, man? How you doing? How's it going, everybody?
Good. Thank you so much, my man, for coming on here to the E's and B's podcast. Like I was telling you before we got going here, you have been on the wish list for 2 solid years, and finally we get the hate train through the door. It's an honor to have you here on the E's and B's today, my friend. Are you ready for some of the famous E's and B's questions?
Yeah, man, for sure. Thanks. It's an honor to be here. Thank you, man. It's cool that I've been on your wish list.
Absolutely, my man. You know, people, if you do not know this guy, make sure you guys go check out Brent Albury, Nitrous Express, the hate train, all the good accolades. We'll get to that at the end of this interview, but let's get things started here, Brent. Tell my fans and listeners out there, the Cliff version. How did you get your start in the no prep world?
Man, I've kind of been a hustler my whole life. I've been wheeling and dealing and just kind of been, had to make my own way. I've had no one to kind of help me my whole life. So I kind of bought and sold cars on the side and, kind of, wheeling and dealing type deal, trading and all that stuff. And I ended up trading for it was an 82 Pontiac Grand Prix. And it had already had a small block Chevy swapped into it. It was previously a diesel. And for me, it was just a car I was just going to get and flip, and I didn't know nothing about it. I didn't really know nothing about cars other than one was a V8, one was a V6. At that time, I think I was probably 24, 23, somewhere around there. And that thing ended up kind of being kind of cool, kind of fast, and was loud and had a cam in it and all that stuff. So, of course, I thought it was the fastest thing since freaking, I'm Smokey and the Bandit out here roasting the tires off this thing, thinking I'm the coolest thing since sliced bread, That was the first time I've ever even launched a car. My first race, anything like that, was in that car. And I'll be honest with you, I raced a Honda. My best friend now, Brian Mitchell, was the first race I've ever had in that car. I mean, and he got me. You know what I mean? I didn't know nothing. I didn't know no better. I remember listening to some of the cars back then, and some of them were like, I know what it is now, of course, but back then, in layman's terms, they'd get all loud and then take off from the starting line. So I neutral dropped that motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? Like, I put that thing in neutral and wooded it, and just slammed it in gear. Oh my gosh, needless to say, that 700 R4 was not my friend. Nice. Later I found out that there's a trans brake, and of course, now I know what the heck is going on. But back then, man, it was funny. I was just to be young and naive and not know, and decided to disintegrate a 700 R4. So that was my first car, and then I ended up getting a Fox body shortly after that. Traded a Bronco for a Fox body, and it was all over with from there, man. I think you can kind of see it. I got a Mustang tattoo on my arm. I've had 52 Mustangs.
Wow, 52. Holy moly.
I've had all kinds of cool stuff, man, when I was younger. Pre-runners, WS6s, F-bodies, Corvettes. I've had all kinds of cool stuff, man. But Fox bodies and Mustangs, I guess, in general, have just always stuck to me like glue. I can't get rid of them.
Yeah, so that's definitely a tradition in our family as well. Growing up, and I was telling you before we recorded, I grew up in a racing family, but my first car at 16 was the 1979 Mustang pace car that Billy Hoskison's giving away right now. That was my very first car, and of course, my family was Ford, have always been Ford, so kind of in the same boat. I feel where you're coming from. It's a hard car to turn your back on in a way.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, tell my fans. Go ahead.
I love it, man. The hay train has been like my first Fox Body race car. You know what I mean? Everything else just bolt on stuff, and nothing really insane or nothing. I think the fastest we ever went previous to this car was we had like a Mustang on nitrous. We had a 2-valve Mustang on nitrous, and then we had a bolt on F body, and both those both went I think 1160s, 1170s. So nothing crazy. So
You're right. Right. Well, it's definitely a lot different now these days. It just keeps getting faster. And of course, I know you're talking hate train. There is something in the works coming very soon. I know I've been keeping up with you. The name of the car has a special part in my heart. Donnie Baker. I can't wait to see that car. We'll talk about that here in a second. But tell my fans and listeners out there, Brent, what's your favorite part of No Prep Racing?
man, I'd have to say just the mystery, like the gamble. It's like an addiction. You know what I mean? It turns into I can see how people get addicted to like gambling and stuff like that because it's like, oh man, I'm gonna hit one of these times. I'm gonna hit it big one of these times, and I gotta keep putting that $100 bill in there, and that's what it is for no prep racing. You gotta keep putting that $100 bill in there and hoping one of these times you hit,
Right. I could definitely agree with that for sure. That's it's like they say, it's the worst drug that's not a drug.
It really is, man, and I mean it's the coulda, woulda, shouldas. It's the anticipation of pulling up to the line for your first pass and getting ready to let off the button. And it doesn't matter for me, anyways. It doesn't matter if I have 500 passes under my belt. I still feel the same exact way in the very first pass at every event. You know what I mean? I'm nervous. I got
butterflies and stuff.
The butterfly, and I love that feeling. I love that I can still feel that feeling, and I wouldn't change it for anything in the world. I just want to get faster and improve my program and try to fill a little bit of void that is there now that Callie Nate's gone. He was a huge part of my program, my success, and
R.I.P. Man.
For sure. He traveled a lot. He raced a lot. He was everywhere. So I kind of want to try to fill a little bit of those footsteps,
Absolutely.
I'll never be able to fill those footsteps. I'll never be able to fill those shoes for sure. Never, ever. And nor do I want to do that. But I just want to try to do, a great value version of what he did. Just, man, I think there's some old interviews of me back in the day from Arizona and stuff when I said, when I first started racing, my goal is to be the great value version of Callie Nate. I don't have the budget. I don't have the knowledge to be him, and no one can ever take that from him. He is who he is. But I just want to be a version of what he was to the racing world is what I get at. You know what I mean? I just want to be man, that guy, when you pull up to the race, people are like, I don't want to race that dude. God dang it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Courtney said it best at War in the Woods. Everybody loved to hate him. And when he pulled up, he made everybody better because you knew how good he was. And if you didn't have your A game, you were getting gapped.
Yeah, for sure. He's just an amazing individual in this sport. And I am lucky and fortunate enough to have him have been such a huge part of this program. He helped me out a lot, and a lot of the stuff that he taught me, I will definitely utilize for the rest of my life.
Absolutely. A void that will never be filled, that's for sure. But definitely, like you said, he will always be carried along with all of us here in the no prep world. And we'll always try to do our best to support Callie Nate. That's something that we will always miss for sure. Let's get back to a few of these questions before we get to some of these fun ones. I got just a couple more serious ones. How about this, Brent? If you could choose one, what would you choose? Front, back, or the street? Street. That's God. I knew you were going to say that. That's the most common. The equalizer, where it all begun. It's definitely the most funnest to watch, in my opinion. So I could agree with you on that one. How about this? What's your favorite race to date?
Man, I would have to say I have a few of them, man. That's a hard one. That's a really hard one to pinpoint one of them. Every time I raced Nate, it was super close. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I knew it was going to be close. My all-time favorite race would be I can send you the video so you could post it in the podcast if you'd like. But I raced him on the street in Arizona, where it all started for me. Where I tested a lot there. It's kind of where my roots started on this particular road. And we were in the finals of the cash days. And to beat Nate is awesome. And it's a chore. But
Right.
to beat Nate in the finals, you got to be doing something really good to beat him in the finals. You know what I mean? When we've already gone, I think we went 6 rounds or something like that. And, we beat him and we put it on him a little bit. I'm not bragging, nothing like that. Rest in peace to the man. It was an amazing day for me. And, I just kind of stretched him out a little bit. So it was such a huge accomplishment because we were able to beat him. And the first thing he did when we got out of the car was ran up and gave me a hug and said, "Congratulations, man. You earned that one."
Yep.
Like, you beat me. Hell yeah. You earned it. So I got to say, especially with everything that's happened lately, that's definitely my favorite race to date.
Yes.
Just because it's like all the hard work paid off. You know what I mean? You finally got to beat the master. You got to beat the teacher.
You beat the king, and when you beat the king, there's definitely something to celebrate for that. And I could see why that's one of your favorites. I'm sure a lot of people that's raced him, that would probably be one of their favorite races to date as well. All right. As you know, you're listening to the E's and B's podcast. You can check us out each and every Friday, wherever you listen to your podcast at. We've got the 4-Lug Thug right here with us, and it's time to get to some of those famous E's and B's questions. Are you ready, my man? How about this? You're having breakfast with any celebrity or racer out there. Who are you having it with, and what are you guys having?
So if it's a celebrity, I'd say Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler is just rad. I'm kind of a goofball. I do some kind of funny videos, and I kind of idolize Adam Sandler just because he's like the average Joe. You know what I mean? He doesn't try to overachieve anything. He's him. He's funny. And it is what it is. You like him, you like him. You don't, you don't. He doesn't care either way. And that's me, man. You like me, you like me. You don't, you don't. I'm not built for everyone to like me, right? Like the stuff I do, man. The nitrous bottle, naked. Me being naked behind the nitrous bottle. Not everybody's gonna like that.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
Some people might call, complain. It is what it is. You're not gonna like me. I'm not. It's the beauty of it is it's America.
Yep. You get your own choices.
You don't have to like me. You don't have to like me. I promise that you can respect. You have to respect me. I earned that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But you don't have to like me. So I love that. I love that about Adam Sandler. It's just like a no fucks given type attitude.
Yeah.
And if I say a famous racer, that'd be a hard one, man. I think all those guys, all the famous dudes are pretty rad. It'd be hard to pinpoint one of them. I'd like to say throw us all in one room having a breakfast together and let's just have fun.
Breakfast buffet. What I mean? Let's do it. Yeah, absolutely.
You got Kai Kelly, you got everybody in there. Bobby Ducati, you just put all those guys in there. Ryan, I've met all those guys a few times. All those guys are rad. So it's hard to say that any of those guys are my favorite.
You also beat a few of those guys as well. So.
I've never beat any of those guys, but we beat some pretty famous guys for sure.
You beat some guys. You got to give yourself a little bit of credit, bud. We've
done pretty good.
You were one of the best ones to watch when you were on that TV show. That's for sure, in my opinion. All right, how about this? Sir. If you could have walk-up type music, how they have for baseball when the batter comes to the plate, he has his own music played. How about this? You're pulling into the water box, and they play your music. What song would they be playing?
My Shitbox by Adam Sandler.
all right. Now that you say that, like I think back on some of your videos, and I can see where you're coming from. Definitely. All right. How about this? Have you ever heard of the Rolex 24 at Daytona? The 24-hour race they run. It's a road course. They run it for 24 hours all night.
Okay.
Well, you get 4 people to drive in that race. Say you are going to be in it. Who are the other 3 people are you picking to drive with you in the Rolex 2400?
I'm gonna pick my kiddo, my son. I'm gonna pick my best friend Brian. And one more person. That's a hard one, man.
I got one for you. How about Jimmy
All right.
Dale?
Yeah, he could come.
He could finish things up. I think that would
Yeah,
be
he could
more
come.
interesting to watch than anything if you guys could
Yeah.
do that. All right, let's get back to a few more serious ones here. We're wrapping things up. We'll turn the tables over to Brent at the end, let him talk a little bit about himself, let him know where you can find him at, what he's got coming up, and all the good stuff. But let me ask you this, Brent. If you could change anything in the no prep racing game, what would it be?
Uh, man, I love everything about it. The only thing I'd say is I wish that there was a little stricter rules about, like, some of the chassis cars in the 28s or something like that, just to kind of give the average Joes like me a better. I'm going to race everybody. I'm going to race anyone and everyone. For the record, I ain't scared of chassis cars. We'll race a chassis car. We're building a chassis car. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. I'll race them. But the thing is I try to appeal myself with my program and everything to the average Joe, the average racer. I mean, we're in my garage, for Christ's sakes. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have a huge shop. I don't have a huge race team, nothing like that. I do this stuff out of my garage, and I do get some help from some amazing people that have some amazing skills. But I try to focus my program and gear it towards the everyday average Joe to let them know that you can do this. You could go out there and be competitive with your Walmart built chip box. You know what I mean? Um, it does tend to get a little hard. Again, I'm not complaining, and I'll still race them. But when you show up to a race and you got the crazy $100,000 tube chassis cars that are starting to figure it out in the no prep game, because big tire racing's kind of dead, so they're throwing small tires on, and small tire racing is definitely where it's at. The big money classes and everything like that. So I wish that they had like a small tire and a small tire outlaw. You know what I mean? Where there was a
Gotcha.
little bit of separation between, like, the everyday average Joe type race cars and the crazy Hemi powered no prep king style cars on small tires,
Right. Right.
Again, I'll race them and I ain't complaining, but I guess I am kind of complaining for everybody else out there that is on a budget like me, but is not as dumb with money like me. You know what I mean? Like, I am financially retarded. Uh, there's some people that are like, man, there's gonna be 6 chassis cars in that race, or so and so and so and so and so and so. I'm not even gonna go. You know what I mean? I think you'd see some car count start to grow. I think
Right.
you'd see that small tire class kind of start to grow, and that small tire outlaw class would still be full of all them killers. And
Right.
you'd still get the guys that double enter like me that are dorks that just love to race, and
Love the race.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I you get those guys that don't do it for the money; they just do it for the thrill of letting off the button, and that's me. It's nice to win for sure, but
Absolutely.
man, if you do this for money, you might as well quit. It's
Yeah.
not a definitely a big money sport, but it's definitely something that satisfies, and it satisfies like a craving once you get into it.
Yeah, it's not easy. There's a lot more than what people think to go into it. Like we've talked, within 3 weeks, you were from West Coast to East Coast to West Coast. You're coming right back to another big race this weekend. But let me ask you this. I know I've seen it from my own 2 eyes.
Quit.
How are you
Okay.
feeling about those 26s? Because I'm going to say, if you have not seen the video I put out of him at War in the Woods, I'm telling you, it was the fastest first round pass of everything out there. And it looked like you've been running on them suckers all year long.
And what's crazy is, like, no bullshit, no nothing. That was my 3rd pass ever on that tire.
Crazy.
That's the first set of those 26s I've ever put on. I made 2 hits at Yellow Belly, and that was my 3rd hit that I have made on that tire ever. When I get that tire figured out, I think that 26 class
You're
is gonna
gonna
have
be
its
a
hands full.
bad man when you get that
I,
figured out.
I like that tire, man. It was nasty. I was very, very excited about that tire. I'm very excited about that class. Jeff told me that Gangster's Paradise, I think there will be a 26 class, so you can count us in for that. I should have my shifter fixed by then. I do got a new shifter, so I got to get that all installed and everything like that. I got mine ghetto rigged right now for the race that the racing that we've been doing. But you know, Man, that 26 is bad,
Yeah,
bro.
I agree. And I love the fact that there are several people trying it out and not just some slow guys. There's some fast guys going down and dipping their toes in that. And I think you're right. You're onto something with the Outlaw and the 28s. And I think this 26 class is going to be right there behind it. We've got a lot of very, very good racing ahead of us, I think, this summer. I cannot wait. But before we get out of here, I got a few more to ask you. We're going to get back to some of the E's and B's questions. Another big famous one. How about this? The story of your life is coming out tomorrow at the movie theater. Who is playing
Okay.
you, and what's the name of the movie?
Oh man, can I play myself?
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, I want to play myself, bro. Um, I don't know what it would be called, man. That's a hard one. I mean, that who knows?
How about this? Come on, ride the train.
Yeah, say something like that, like the crazy adventures of Hey Train. It'd be a crazy movie for sure. It'd be some shit in there. So
I think it would
we've
be like
only
you
been
said, an
racing.
Adam Sandler style of movie, and I think it would be a box office hit, in my opinion. All right, one more fun one here for you. Switch it up. As you know, the E's and B's podcast loves every sport out there. We talk a lot of everything, but one of our favorites is wrestling. So we got to intertwine that here with you, Brent. How about this? You and your son, Zachary, are teaming up for the tag team belts. What's the name of your tag team?
Uh, they gonna have their hands full too, bro. Because we love wrestling too. I wrestled in high school, and I goof around with my kid all the time. And I mean, not I don't know. We probably should go to class or something like that. You know what I mean? What's the name? What's the name? Uh, hmm. I probably just call it like Team Hate Train or something like that,
Team
just to keep
Hatred.
the
All
car
right.
name out. Yeah, something
All
like
right.
that. Just to
Yeah, and
just
I
to keep
agree.
the
He's a big boy. He would be a handful along with yourself
yeah.
being a high school wrestler. That would be a good combo out there. All right, one more here before I turn the table over to you and let you promote a little bit about yourself. How about this? It's a very serious one. I like this. Brent, when it's all said and done, what do you want the Hate Train, the Donnie Baker, and the Brent Albury legacy to be?
Man, I just want to be that guy that's, known for helping people and cool with everyone. I don't really want to have any enemies out there. I try to not talk a lot of crap. I do have a little bit of cockiness that I feel that we've earned, but I try to not let it overcome me that some people do. Some people kind of let it go to their head, and some people just kind of have a really cocky aura. And I want to be that great value version of Cali Nate, like we talked about earlier. That guy that, man, when he showed up, you had your hands full. He had a solid program. He was fast on a small tire, but he'd give you the shirt off his back. I mean, and that's what I do. You know what I mean? Every race I go to, I try to make sure I hit people up. When I was at Outlaw, I was a lot better because not a lot better, but it was a lot more, I guess, well versed or more versed because I'd bring all kinds of parts when I was at Outlaw Race Engines. Tires, fuel, all kinds of parts. So now it's just nitrous stuff. But we still load the truck down with parts and bring people all kinds of parts that we can. Whatever they need, whatever we can help with. And I still have the connections with tires and fuel and all that stuff. So I still try to help. I mean, this hobby is expensive. This sport, this lifestyle, whatever you want to call it, it's expensive. So to save 5, 10, 20 bucks here and there, it adds up. It's huge. And if I can save anyone any amount of money, that's what I try to do. If I don't need to make it, I don't need to make the money. If I could just pass along the savings, and so I've tried to get a vast list of connections, with different dealers. And then if I don't have the connections, I know how to find the connections, and simply just so I could offer some savings to people. A lot of people do it so they could make money and figure out a way to earn an income and make a living. I should do that if I was smart, but I'd rather use it just to kind of pass along the savings and save the racers as much as I can while still trying to learn and learn about different cars. That's why I'm excited about Donnie Baker, because it's going to be a big block nitrous car. So
Tell it to your face.
yeah, for sure. I could have the knowledge of the nitrous car, the nitrous setup, the power managing of a nitrous car, and still have the knowledge that I have of the turbo car and the power managing the turbo car, and being able to get both cars down the track, and then being able to help when people call me and they say, "Hey man, I got this, nitrous big block, da 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 da, this and that." Right now, I try to help as much as I can, but I do rely on Raska and Abney and a lot of the guys in the shop, because I just don't simply know yet, so I don't want to give out knowledge that I don't know. So
Right.
it's a constant school for me, I guess. This whole everything is. It's just man, I try to learn as much as I can as I go. And just simply so I can help and help when I can. And and people that send me videos of their car and they're like, "Hey man, I'm having problems getting down the street." So they send me videos and I can try to help with as much as I can over the phone and whatnot. I love that stuff. I that's what I do it for. That's what I want to be remembered for. Just that guy that's heavily involved in the sport, that was fast, made you have to be on your toes, but he would also give the shirt off his back to you, and you know
Well,
that
in
I
my
think
opinion,
that's it.
I think you're on a hell of a path. You're doing a hell of a job. And I know Callie Nate is looking down on you right now with a big smile because he's proud of what you're progressing in, how you're driving yourself, not letting the bumps in the road like you've had in the past get you down. You keep overcoming that. And that's part of the reason I brought you on here today because, we don't have to shine the light on you. You're a superstar in your own making. I brought you on here for exactly what you just said. A lot of people need to understand that there's a lot more to this no prep game than just going out there and trying to win the big pots. It's a family-like atmosphere, and that's what I love the most about you and your team. Not even knowing who the E's and B's podcast was, met you in Texas. You're so grateful to me, and then met you again at War in the Woods, and it's like we've known each other forever. So I'm so thankful for bringing you on, and you're so thankful that you came onto the show here today. Before we get out of here, though, Brent, I want to turn the table over to you. Tell the fans and listeners out there what you got coming up this weekend, a big one. And then, of course, where they can find you at there on all the socials.
So, man, we're heading to H-Town this weekend, H-Town Throwdown. We're going to enter the 29 small tire class. We're going to leave the 28s on. And, man, we're going to hopefully give her hell. Hopefully we could, take home the W. We're overdue. We're definitely in need of some of that moral juiciness that a W provides. You know what I mean?
Amen.
So,
Amen.
but nevertheless, it's still awesome to be out there with all of our friends and family and everything like that. And racing, just that alone is in itself enough to keep doing it. And if it wasn't for my guys, like you said, I mean, trying to overcome the bumps in the road and stuff, and it's been rocky lately. But if it wasn't for my guys kind of, pushing me with a bunch of motivation, Paul and Raska, Jimmy Dale, all them guys, Abney, everybody, they're always positive. My buddy Brian and back in AZ, my buddy Jason at Outlaw. I have a good support team that's like, hey, whatever we can do to help you, because damn, you have been going through it. So whatever we can do to help, we would love to help. And it's amazing. I'd like, I couldn't do it without a solid support team. And man, shout out to all those guys for sure. Shout out to Paul and Raska, all the guys at NX, all the guys that are my race team now when we go out there, my kiddo, Barrett, everybody always lining me up, making sure we're in the groove and everything like that. That's all a huge part of why people are successful and why some people aren't. You could have the fastest car in the world, but if you don't have the right crew, the right backup crew or nothing like that, you're just kind of winging it. Right? You're just pissing in the wind at that point,
Yep.
Your crew game and all that, I've said since day one, is a solid reason of why you have a successful program. And I got a solid crew, so shout out to them guys for sure. And you said where you can find me. You guys could look
so the
me
fans,
up on,
listeners, real quick, where we can find you out there on all the socials out there.
pretty much you can just type Hey Train on any social media platform. You'll pull me up right there, man. YouTube, it's Hey Train Fox. Facebook's Hey Train. Well, Brent Albury, 4Lug Thug, I think I even have typed on there. Instagram's Hey Train Fox, and TikTok's Hey Train Fox, I think. So basically, when I've kind of tried it out myself just to see, if you just type Hey Train in the search bar, you'll pull me up. You'll find me.
Oh, yeah.
You can't miss me. The ugly purple Mustang on white walls. The slow purple Mustang on white walls.
All right, man. Well, it's been an honor and a pleasure having you here on the E's and B's. Make sure you fans go out there, check him out this weekend, going down H-Town Throwdown, and at a race near you very, very soon. Coming to us from Wichita Falls, Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you driver of Hate Train and Donnie Baker, Brent Albury. Thanks, man. It's been awesome.
Heck yeah. Thanks, man. It's been rad.